My name is Robert Hayes. I'm 72 years old, and I spent my entire life believing that loyalty, family, and love were stronger than greed until the day my only son proved me wrong. A day that still sits heavy in my chest like a weight I never asked to carry. A day that opened my eyes to the painful truth that sometimes the people you sacrifice everything for are the first ones to betray you when money enters the picture. I raised my son Michael as a single father after losing my wife when he was just 6. I worked 2 jobs, skipped meals so he could eat, sold my truck so he could go to college, and even mortgaged my house once just to help him start his own business because I believed helping your child is what a father is meant to do. For years I thought we were close, thought he respected me, thought he saw the nights I came home exhausted and still cooked dinner. Thought he understood the sacrifices that shaped his future, but as he got older and more ambitious, I began noticing subtle shifts. The way he flinched when I mentioned retirement, how he asked too many questions about my finances, how he encouraged me to relax and let him handle things as if I was already a burden waiting to happen. Still, I brushed it off. I wanted to believe he was just concerned. But everything changed the day I collapsed in my backyard from dehydration and exhaustion while gardening. And instead of checking on me in the hospital, he went straight to a lawyer, trying to convince them I was mentally unfit so he could gain control of my assets. I didn't even know about it until the lawyer, an old friend of mine, called me privately and said, "Robert, your son is trying to declare you incompetent." My heart cracked in a way I didn't know was possible. When I confronted Michael, he didn't deny it. He actually justified it, saying, "Dad, you're getting older. You don't know how to manage your money. I'm protecting what will eventually be mine anyway." I stared at him in disbelief, feeling every inch of trust drain out of me. "Yours?" I asked quietly. "Michael, nothing is yours unless I give it." He scoffed, rolled his eyes like I was a senile fool, and said, "Dad, come on. You won't be around forever. It's better if I take control now." That was the moment right there when something inside me finally snapped, not out of anger, but out of clarity. I realized he didn't love me for who I was. He loved me for what I owned. The business I built, the house I maintained for decades, the savings I put away penny by penny, he wanted all of it. Not because he earned it, but because he thought he deserved it automatically. And so I made a decision. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't say a single word. I simply nodded, pretending I was tired, and walked away. But the very next morning, I called my attorney, updated my will, and changed everything in a single appointment for the next 2 months. I stayed quiet and observant, watching how Michael treated me with this fake sugary sweetness, calling me daily, visiting more often, bringing groceries, trying to act like the perfect son, never realizing I knew about his betrayal. But the more he tried to pretend, the more obvious it became that he was only playing a role, waiting for the final act where he stood center stage inheriting everything I had. He didn't care about me, he cared about the finish line. What he didn't know, though, was that I had chosen someone else entirely to receive my estate, a person he never would have imagined. Someone he barely acknowledged. Someone he never believed mattered. My late wife's niece, Emily? A young woman who had quietly taken care of me for years without ever asking for anything. She cleaned my yard when my back hurt, brought groceries when she knew I couldn't drive, fixed my leaking faucet at midnight, and even helped me file my taxes when I got overwhelmed. She treated me like family, not because of money, but because of love. I left everything to her, my home, my savings, my business shares, even the land my father left me. I also set up a scholarship fund in my wife's name for kids in our town, something I always wanted to do but never had the courage to commit to. Michael remained in the dark until that one unforgettable afternoon when he came barging into my house, waving a document, furious because the lawyer had finally called him to notify him of the updated estate plan. "What the hell is this, Dad?" he shouted. "You left everything to her? To some girl you barely know?" His face was red, pulsing with entitlement. I stayed calm, sipping my tea. "Emily's been more of a child to me than you've been in years," I said simply. He threw his hands in the air. "You owe me. I'm your son. I set my cup down and looked him directly in the eyes. I owed you love, support, and guidance, and I gave you all of that. But I don't owe you my life's work, Michael. He started pacing, cursing, blaming Emily, blaming me, blaming everyone but himself, calling me ungrateful, senile, manipulated, and finally, when he realized the will was legally airtight, he broke down crying, not from grief, but from losing what he believed he deserved without effort. When he finally left, slamming the door behind him, I felt strangely at peace, not because I had punished him, but because I had freed myself from the guilt of enabling him. 3 weeks later, Emily came by with tears in her eyes when she learned what I had done. She hugged me tightly and whispered, "Uncle Robert, I don't deserve this." And for the first time in a long time, I felt genuine warmth in my chest as I replied, "You deserve every bit of kindness life can offer." I didn't leave everything to her out of revenge. I left it because real love should be rewarded, not taken for granted. As for Michael, we speak rarely now, and every conversation is hollow, strained, distant, not because I want it that way, but because betrayal creates a kind of silence that love cannot repair. But sometimes in the quiet of my evenings, I remind myself of something important. Blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. My son betrayed me for money, so I left everything to someone he never saw coming, and I have not regretted it for one single second.